Raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony that you're about to give in this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
If you would please introduce yourself and spell your name for us.
My name is Danielle Janicek, Danielle Janicik.
Good afternoon, Ms. Janicek. Tell the jury where you work.
The Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office.
How long have you worked at the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office?
Almost 4 years.
Explain to the jury, what is your title at the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office?
I am a crime scene investigator.
Help us understand exactly what does it mean to be a crime scene investigator. Tell us what you do.
When a call for service comes out, we are the ones that go to the scene and collect evidence, take photographs, swab for suspected biological fluids, and then process for latent prints.
How long have you worked at Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office?
Almost 4 years.
When you started, did you get hired as a crime scene investigator?
Yes.
How many times have you been called out to a scene and been asked to do your duties as a crime scene investigator?
Hundreds.
On August 29th of 2022, is it fair to say that you've been to hundreds of scenes by that time as well?
Yes.
So on August 29th of 2022, do you get a call to be a crime scene investigator on the case we're here for today involving the defendant Jermaine Bass?
Yes.
Tell the jury what time abouts were you called to come out to the scene?
I was requested at about 12:20 a.m. to respond to Tampa General.
Now, when you get called to come out to a scene to be a crime scene investigator, who calls you to come? Is it like a patrol deputy or is a detective involved at that point?
Typically, it's a detective.
When you arrive after being called to a crime scene to be a crime scene investigator, do you typically meet with a detective before you conduct any of your duties as a crime scene investigator?
Yes.
On August 29th, or the morning of August 30th, when you arrived at the scene for this case, did you meet with a detective?
I did.
Who was that detective?
At the hospital, it was Detective Gibson.
So what hospital are we talking about?
Tampa General.
When you arrived at Tampa General Hospital, you meet with Detective Gibson. What do you do after you talk with Detective Gibson?
He requested that photos and evidence be collected of 2 individuals,
Who are the 2 individuals?
Jayla and Jermaine Bass.
Okay, and at the time, did you take photos at that scene?
Yes.
Then what did you do after that?
I responded to the Heritage Club Drive residents, to assist my lead CSI, Shannon Bader.
When you arrived at the Heritage Club residence and you were assisting, what does it mean to assist the lead crime scene investigator? Help us understand, what does that mean?
So usually the lead is the one that is taking the photographs, the one marking evidence, collecting evidence. I am behind her doing presumptive swabs, assisting with packaging her swabs, or packaging her evidence further and getting it out of her way, or creating a scene diagram.
In this case, when you went to the Heritage Club townhome, were you asked to create a crime scene diagram?
I was.
Explain to the jury, how do you make a crime scene diagram? Do you just look around and sketch it out? What's the process to make that?
So we use something called a Faro scanner, and the easiest way to describe it is if you're looking to rent an apartment or buy a home, sometimes they have 3D virtual tours. These scanners are something similar to that. So we create a 3D virtual tour of the scene, and from that I can create a 2D diagram that is computer generated.
And did you do that in this case?
I did.
Your Honor, at this point I'm asking to, or I'm going to show the witness. This has been pre-marked as State's Exhibit 25. Do you recognize this?
Yes.
Is this a fair and accurate representation of the diagram that you created in this case of the Heritage Club address?
Yes.
Judge, at this time I'm asking you to enter into evidence and publish what's with framework for identification as State's Exhibit 25.
All right, it's been admitted.
Permission to publish?
Yes.
So I'm placing State's Exhibit 25. There's two pieces of paper. I'm placing 25A on the Elmo. So if you notice, I'm pointing to the bottom left corner of 25A where we're noticing the words front door. Help us understand, would this be the bottom floor or the top floor when you went to make this diagram?
This would be the bottom floor.
So if you're entering from the parking lot, you're coming through where my finger is pointing right there where it says front door.
Yes.
Immediately to our left, we see what?
A kitchen?
The rectangle, excuse me, right to the right of the word kitchen. What is that representing?
The kitchen island?
Moving along, we're going further. My finger is pointing to the words dining area. Right above that, we're seeing what looks like to be a table and chairs. Is that representative of
Yes.
table and chairs? Okay. What is just beyond that at the top of your diagram? We see two squares with W/D. Tell the jury what that represents.
It's a washer-dryer closet.
Now we're going forward into the living room. It looks like we're seeing number 1 and number 2. What are those representing?
They are evidence markers.
Okay, so, and it looks like number 1 is to the left of a longer rectangle. What is that representing? That black longer rectangle at the bottom, just off to the center to the right.
It is a couch.
It looks like evidence marker 2 is just between two like darker squares to the right of the rectangle. What is that representing?
Like sofa chairs?
And to the right of that, we see a little sketch. Can you explain to the jury what we see to the right where my finger is? It's all the way to the right bottom right corner.
It was a little pink, like Barbie car, like that you could sit and drive in.
Like a child's toy?
Yeah.
Now moving across the room, we see, what are we looking at right here? It looks like another rectangle. I'm pointing to the top center, almost off to the right. There's a rectangle and it looks like it has some lines like a grid. What is that representing?
Those are stairs.
So moving to 25B that I'm placing on the Elmo now, is it safe to say that the sketch diagram of 25B represents the upper level or the second floor of the townhome?
Yes.
So on the bottom left, we're looking at, do those also represent the stairs when my finger is pointing to the bottom left?
Yes, they do.
So you're walking up, it looks like you immediately run into, it's white, it's the outline of like a rectangle with a number 3 next to it. Explain to the jury what is number 3 representative of?
A cabinet or a shelf that was at the top of the stairs.
Right next to that, we see what looks like hallway, and then to the right of that, it looks like a line going to the right, and there's a series of small dots that connect it to the left. What is that representative of?
That is the hallway going into the front bedroom, which was the children's bedroom.
When you walk in, we're seeing a couple of different shapes, and we're seeing a couple of different words. So we're looking here to the left. There is a rectangle with 2 squares or 2 rectangles on the other sides of it, and it says dollhouse. Tell us what that means.
It was a dollhouse, like a Barbie dollhouse, that was in front of the bed.
The bed that we're looking at here to the left, it looks like we see a top rectangle and then a lower rectangle that is visible from the top aerial view. Explain to us why can I see the bottom one even though I can see the top one as well?
It was a double bunk bed with a larger bed at the bottom.
So what did it look like? Maybe it was like a twin over full or a twin over king. They're different sizes.
Yes, they were different sizes.
Gotcha. Now we're looking at, we can see on the top a number to the left. It looks like B2. Do you see that right there?
Yes.
What is that representative of?
It was a marker of, I believe it was a suspected bullet hole.
Okay, and we see also the numbers. It looks like on the top bunk here, we see number 6, number 11, number 8, number 10, and number 9. What is that representative of?
Those were all evidence markers.
Number 5, we see with a line. Is that being attributed, number 5, to an evidence marker?
Yes.
And would that be on the top or the bottom bunk?
I believe it was the bottom bunk.
Okay. Now, looking over to the right, we see what anytime we see these numbers, is it safe to say those are evidence numbers?
Yes.
So we see what looks like an evidence number 4. Tell us where that was located or what it was around.
It was around 2 sets of TVs, and it appeared to be like a chair, and it was in the corner.
So this line that we talked about earlier with this series of dotted lines before that, does that represent like the doorway?
Yes.
So if you're exiting through this doorway from the children's bedroom with the bunk bed, what's immediately to the right?
A bathroom.
And is that what we see here to the right where like the toilet and it looks like something in front of the toilet, a shower and a vanity area?
Yes.
Now walking down this hallway, it looks like there's a doorway to another room. What is that entering?
The master suite, master bedroom.
When you enter this doorway immediately to the right, what do we see?
Another bathroom.
Now, without any further doors, if you keep walking, you walk into what looks like the master bedroom, is that correct?
Yes.
Now, we see to the right a rectangle up against it, looks like the wall that separates the bathroom from the master bedroom. Is that representative of a dresser?
Yes.
We see several evidence markers, 12, 13, 14, and 18, or 16. Oh yeah, no, that's 18. Are those representative of evidence that were found in those locations on the dresser?
Yes.
Looking upwards to the right, we see 15. Is that an evidence marker found on another piece of furniture?
Yes, it was another dresser.
Another dresser, okay. Then we see the bed, we see evidence marker 17. Is that representative of a piece of evidence that was found on the bed?
Yes.
Now, when we're looking at both of these, 25A and 25B, is the purpose of doing these two diagrams so that every piece of physical evidence that's found at the scene is representative on this diagram?
Yes.
Okay. Now, after, one second, let me just return this to the clerk. After you're at the Heritage Club address and you document this scene of the physical evidence that's found while you're assisting crime scene investigator Bader, did you have an occasion to go to a hospital where another victim, in this case Jermaine Bass, who we call JJ, was located?
Yes.
Did you have an occasion to take photographs of JJ and his injuries?
Yes.
And I'm showing you what's been pre-marked for identification as states 27A through D. Do you recognize these photos?
Yes.
Is this a fair and accurate representation of what the child victim JJ looked like at the time that you photographed him?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time I offer into evidence what's been pre-marked for identification as states 27A through D as states 27A through D.
They're admitted
Do I have
already.
permission to publish?
Yep.
Thank you, Judge. I'm putting on the Elmo what's been pre-marked for identification as what's been entered into evidence as states 27A. What hospital was he located?
He was at TGH as well in the PICU,
What's the PICU, do you know?
the Pediatric Intensive Care Unit.
When you walked in, this wound that we're seeing, for the record, on 27A, the photo is depicting what looks like the ear of the child. And up to the right, we see a wound. Is that his left ear?
Yes.
And I'm putting 27B on the Elmo. Often in these photos, we see these measurements used. Can you explain to the jury why and when you decide to use these measurements in photos?
When we take our series of photos, we usually do overall mid-range close-up, and what you're seeing are close-ups, and then with our close-ups we add scales to give a relative size to show how large an item is or how small an item is.
This injury on 27B, is it the same injury that's depicted on what we just looked at on 27A?
It is.
I'm placing on the Elmo 27C. Tell the jury what we're looking at on 27C.
That is the JJ's right pinky finger.
An injury to his right pinky finger. I'm putting on the Elmo what's been entered into evidence as 27D. Is this the same photo that we just looked at, but the only difference as this one having the markers so we know how big it is.
Yes.
One moment. So we have the injury to JJ, the left side of his head right above his ear, and then we have the injury to his right pinky that we just saw in those photos, correct?
Yes.
Judge, may I just have a moment?
Yes.
I don't have any further questions.
All right. Cross?
No questions.
All right, you can step down, thank you.
Thank you.
She released from her subpoena?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Call your next witness.
Crime scene investigator Shannon Bader.